boys and girls. We are in the California History Social Science My World 3rd grade interactive text. We will be working on pages 20 through 31 today. Ecosystems and resources. Big question. I will know how we use and protect California's resources. Stand in one of the 4 areas of your classroom that represent California regions. Pick a partner in another group and invite the person to your area. Tell your partner what is special about your region and why your partner should visit. Then go to your partner's area and listen to your partner tell you what is special about that region. So we don't have a classroom right now, but you can choose one of the regions of California and you can describe it to a family member. California geography affects how people live and what people do for fun and for work. People use the state's natural resources in different ways. A natural resource is anything found in nature that people use. Water, trees, and soil are all examples of natural resources. People in California and across the United States use California's resources. People use natural resources to make things that people buy and sell. Examples include clothing, food, and shelter. People are also hired to work at jobs in which they make things or complete tasks for others. Jobs are one way Californians' natural resources support communities. Forest resources. Each of California's ecosystems has natural resources. In the state's forests, trees are cut down and sawed into lumber. Lumber is wood that is used for building things like houses. Wood is also used to make paper. People such as loggers work in California's forests. Park rangers work in places like Muir Woods National Monument, where tourists visit to admire the beauty of nature. Reading check. Use the map to identify which natural resources are found in California's forests. Circle the resources on the legend. So let's look here at the legend, and it says farming, forests, high population, non-farming land, dairy, almonds, grapes, cattle, strawberries, lettuce, fish, lumber. It's talking about trees, which another word for trees would be lumber. And if we look here at this map, you see that there are also in the forest, which is the dark green, some cattle there. If you look at the map here. Page 22. People modify their environment to meet their needs. The environment is the natural world in which people, plants, and animals live. Making changes to a place can have bad effects too. For example, when people cut down trees, certain birds and animals lose resources. Also, thinner forests can catch fire more easily. Primary source, forests, in large part, the way the earth breathes. We've got to become aware of what the wild forest is doing for us. It is taking care of water and soil and giving us beauty. David Brower, environmentalist, August 5th, 2000. Reading check. Explain why environmentalist David Brower thinks forests are important. So here it says, it's how the earth breathes. So you're going to write that answer on the reading check, that it's how the earth breathes. Or whatever you think he is saying is more important. Word-wise, a homophone is a word that sounds the same as another word but has a different spelling or meaning. Rays are beams of light from the sun. Look for a word in the text that sounds the same. Explain the different meanings. Agricultural resources. Agriculture is another word for farming. An agricultural region is an area where certain types of crops are grown. As you read, California's Central Valley is the state's major agricultural region. The resources of the Central Valley, including its rich soil, flat land, and warm climate, allow farmers to grow crops nearly all year long. Farmers grow nuts, fruits, rice, and wheat. They also raise farm animals like chicken and cattle. To the south, farmers grow citrus fruits, like oranges and grapefruits. California grows more than half of the fruits and vegetables in the nation. Smaller communities in the Central Valley are supported by the buying and selling of agricultural goods. For example, in Yuba City, people work at a company that processes dry fruits. Most of the state's oranges are grown in Fresno, Kern, and Tulare counties. Farming is a good example of people adapting to their environment. To adapt means to change in order to live in a new environment. Over time, people learn to farm crops. that grow best where they lived. They also learned the best time to plant certain crops and how to protect the soil. Today, farmers rotate or move around their crops to keep the soil healthy and insect-free. Academic vocabulary: process, to change something into another form. And here is a graph, circle graph, of the top California agricultural goods from 2015. So you can see here milk is one of the largest, and these little tiny pieces, this one here, this green one, is walnuts, and this purple one is hay. This graph shows the 10 agricultural goods in California that brought the most money into the state in 2015. Circle the 3 goods that brought the most money. So if we're looking at money, we'd say milk, almonds, and grapes. So I would circle these 3, and maybe you want to circle it here because it shows those are larger. Water resources. Many natural resources can also be found in California's bodies of water. The Pacific Ocean offers fish, such as tuna and sardines, and also squid and crab. Trout and salmon are raised on farms. Fresh water is a very important resource for California. The state is very dry. Water has to be brought from lakes and rivers to irrigate farms and for drinking. Some people have built aqueducts or pipes that move water across long distances. The first Los Angeles aqueduct was finished in 1913. It carried more than 200 miles from the Owens River to Los Angeles. Dams are built to help prevent floods and to build up the water supply for dry periods. Dams supply jobs to people who operate them. In Northern California is the Shasta Dam, which was built across the Sacramento River. So this keeps the water from flowing down. Number 4, reading check. Main ideas and details. Bright white people modify their environment by building dams. And this would be to save up water for a dry period. So you're going to go back in the story and find the evidence of that and write it on the line. Underground resources. California is also rich in minerals. A mineral is a resource that comes from under the ground. In the city of Long Beach, oil is drilled, refined, and turned into gasoline and other products. Many areas of the Sacramento Valley produce natural gas. Underground sand and gravel mines have been built in places like Stanislaus and Shasta. California's minerals are used to make things. Oil is used to make plastic bottles. Most cars are fueled by gasoline, but some run on natural gas. People use natural gas in homes for heating, cooking, and drying clothes. Sand and gravel are turned into concrete, which is used to build highways and buildings. Many Californians work at places that produce and process these resources. Oil is refined into gasoline in Long Beach. This right here is a picture of that. And our academic vocabulary, refine, means to take away the unwanted parts in something. So it's kind of like filtering it. Conserving resources. Not all natural resources will last forever. Renewable resources, like trees, can be replaced. Non-renewable resources, like oil and natural gas, cannot be replaced. Therefore, people must work to conserve or protect these resources. By conserving resources, people make fewer changes to the environment. It also ensures that there will be resources for people in the future. There are many ways to conserve resources. People can try to use less energy. Another way is to use new sources of energy. For example, in Tehachapi, wind farms turn wind into electricity. In the Mojave Desert, solar energy, which comes from the sunlight, is produced. Wind and solar energy are renewable resources. People can also recycle, which means to use something again. Plastic bottles, metal cans, and paper can all be recycled. All right, here I want you to go back into page 26, and you're going to make a list. It's a table. Fill in the chart by identifying examples of renewable and non-renewable resources. So if you go on page 26, right over here, you'll see there is a list of renewable and non-renewable. And then I would like for you to do the lesson 3 check, compare and contrast, and explain why conserving resources is important. This will be your opinion. Which resources are located near you? So think about where we live in the Central Valley. And compare the ways that underground resources and water resources are similar, and how they're different. All right, I love you, California. A primary source is a source created at an event or during a certain time period. Secondary sources are created after an event or time period. A state song is a primary source. California's state song is called I Love You, California. A state song is a way that people celebrate their state. I love you, California, you're the greatest state of all. I love you in the winter, summer, spring, and in the fall. I love your fertile valleys, your dear mountains I adore. I love your grand old ocean, I love her rugged shore. Chorus. When the snow-crowned golden sierras keep their watch o'er the valley's bloom, it is there I would be in our land by the sea, every breeze bearing rich perfume. It is here nature gives her rarest. It is home, sweet home to me. And I know when I die I shall breathe my last sigh for my sunny California. F.B. Silverwood, I Love You, California, in 1913. If you look here, fertile means produces many crops, rugged means rough and uneven, and the chorus is the part of the song that is sung between the verses. And if you saw this part here, this underlined word or means over, but song artists will often take a piece of the word out so the song fits. Close reading. I Love You, California. This drawing decorated the sheet music for the song when it was written in 1913. Mary Garden stopped grand opera to make this California song famous. Look at the words of the chorus. In what area of California would a person in the song like to be? So if we look at the chorus, there are some words describing where the person wants to be. So I want you to read over that. And it's talking about several places, so you might want to list those here. Number 2, circle the physical features that are mentioned in the state song on the previous page. So physical features would be like the mountains or the ocean, the breeze bearing rich perfume. So physical features, like how it looks. Circle those on page 28. Wrap it up. Why do you think I Love You, California mentions so many of the state's landforms, features, and regions? So this is a why do you think? This is your opinion. Why do you think they're explaining how much they love California by describing the way that it looks, its features, and its regions? You'll write that there. Page 30. Hallie M. Daggett, first female fire lookout. Hallie M. Daggett was a woman who took on a big responsibility. She was the first female fire lookout hired by the Forest Service. Beginning in the summer of 1913, she worked in the Klamath National Forest atop a high mountain peak. Her job was important. She had to look over the entire area and watch for forest fires. She had to deal with terrible weather, too. She also had to be careful of grizzly bears and other wild animals. Perhaps most difficult of all, Daggett's job required her to spend many hours all alone atop Klamath Peak. It was 9 miles away from her home. The other lookouts, all men, never thought she would continue working. They were wrong. She loved her job and worked hard at it for 14 years. In what way did Hallie M. Daggett have a lot of responsibility? So I want you to go back and think, what were her responsibilities? That means, what did she have to take care of, or what was she responsible for? Number 2, there are a lot of people in your community who have jobs with a lot of responsibilities, such as police officers, doctors, and firefighters. Ask an adult who works in one of these jobs to talk about his or her responsibilities. Report back to the class what you learn. Would you like to have a job with a lot of responsibility? So here you can do an interview with someone that is either an officer, a doctor, or a firefighter, or someone else that you know that has a lot of responsibilities. I think a lot of jobs have a lot of responsibilities. Chapter 1, Visual Review. Use these graphics to review some of the key terms and ideas in the chapter. The regions of California. Mountains, geographical features. Mountains grouped in ranges, higher elevation than hills. Places, Cascade Range, Klamath Mountains, Tehachapi Mountains, Sierra Nevada, and Yosemite National Park. And these are the brown areas, they're the mountains. 2, Central Valley. Geographical features, farmland, lowland between mountains, long and flat. Places, capital city of Sacramento, Sacramento Valley, and the San Joaquin Valley, which San Joaquin Valley is where we live. Desert. Geographical features. Dry area with little or no rain can be very hot or cold. Joshua trees. Places, Mojave Desert, Death Valley, and Palm Springs. And desert was number 4, so I skipped number 3. Let's go back over here. Number 3 is the coast. Geographical features, the Pacific Ocean, forests, rocky cliffs, beaches. Places, big cities like Santa Monica and Los Angeles, and the Redwood National Park. And if you look here, the coast is this blue part right here, right along the ocean.